Medal of Honor Warfighter. I just don't know how to quit you, but what's going on, guys, in the works? And I had promised that if I enjoyed the Zero Dark Note 30 map packs, that I would do a little segment on them and talk about what they kind of bring to the table. Now, when I was kind of anticipating this DLC, I guess I was never really anticipating it because I didn't really play this game much the past month or so. But when I was thinking about like the coming changes to the game via the patch and the new DLC, it kind of intrigued me. I was like, okay, you know, this game, I've bashed it about as hard as I could bash it. There's plenty of problems, we all know the problems. But there are people out there that enjoy it, and I can have fun with this game. That's not my problem. It's just a lot of issues that just kind of grind my gears. So I was like, I'm going to give this map pack a fair shake. And I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised. The maps in this are what the map should have been kind of modeled after throughout the entire game. I wish more of the maps played like these particular maps because they are really solid. Now, I do think this one I'm playing right now, which is the gun market, is a little bit better than the other one, which is the Chytrol compound or something like that. The one disadvantage of this map is it seems like there's a lot of areas where they can spawn or trap you in an area and you can't get out, and that gets frustrating, but that's a common trend in Medal of Honor Warfighter. I think that we've all experienced really bad spawns, and I am getting the crap mortared out of me right now. I think we've all experienced really bad spawns in this game. And there's some segments in here where you just kind of scratch your head when you see me die, just from really poor spawns, just some really poor placement of where the different deployments are for each other. When, you know, when one team is in one side, one team is in the other side. Sometimes you can spawn like 15 feet on the other side of the wall, and it'll be matched up against a bad guy as soon as you turn around. So that can be really frustrating on these maps. Now, the Dara gun market is definitely the best of these two maps. You know, I already said that earlier. It's got a lot of level fighting. You see me looking up from the docks up onto the little boardwalks up there. There's a lot of cool aspects of it. And I think this map you see me playing now is actually the weaker of the two maps. And that's one of my problems with this particular DLC, is it doesn't really offer you a whole lot of value. Granted, Medal of Honor Warfighter maps always play differently depending on what the game mode you're in. So if you're playing TDM like you see me here, you're actually on the outside of the compound. Whereas if you're playing in the hotspot mode or you're playing like a combat mission, you actually move into the compound. So it's actually kind of interesting that they do that with the maps. It kind of gives it a little bit more variety. But this map, like I said, is a little bit weaker, I think, than the other ones. It feels a lot more linear. Not to mention, it feels very similar to another Medal of Honor Warfighter map that's in this game. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you played any amount of time in this game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's kind of like that map in a night setting. And that's one of the cool things about the compound map, is that it is in a night setting. So overall, the look and feel of these maps are pretty solid. I think that they should have kind of taken a page out of these maps design books for all the maps. I guess since they had a little bit more time to kind of tweak them, to fool around with them, I think maybe they got it right. They had time to actually sit down and think like, whoa, is this a good way to kind of design a map? You know, is it just going to lead to people funneling out of areas and getting destroyed? So I do enjoy these new maps, and I can actually say that if you're a Medal of Honor Warfighter fan, there's definitely something here to enjoy. My one hesitation, if you don't have the digital deluxe or like the limited edition, whatever they call it these days, you don't actually get the map packs for free. So if you pre-ordered the game, most likely you have the limited edition or whatever the special little shiny edition is, which means that you can download these free of charge. However, if you have to actually buy them, they're going to cost you $10, which is pretty expensive, and I don't really know if that's a good deal or not. In fact, I think EA even feels like maybe they need to sweeten the deal a little bit, and they've actually tried to polish off the advertisement for it, saying that there's actually 10 map mode combinations, which with 2 maps, 5 different game modes, that's where you get your 10 map mode combinations. So I guess since each map does play differently depending on the game mode you're in, that's feasible to kind of advertise that, because you do get completely different experiences depending on where you're at in the particular map. See, like right now I'm on the gun market, and this is a completely different area. If you're playing a combat mission, you actually start outside the gun market and you work your way in. So I definitely think these maps are awesome, and one of the things they've packaged with it to kind of sweeten the deal if maybe you're a little bit hesitant is they've given you, quote, 6 new weapon configurations and 14 new camos, which I'm not really a big camo guy. I did look at the new camos. I guess they were pretty to look at. They were nice to kind of fool around with those, but it wasn't a big deal. It doesn't change any gameplay aspects. However, the 6 new weapon configurations allows you to kind of toy around with some of the weapons a little bit differently. So if you've gotten bored of the game, if you're a pretty big proponent of Medal of Honor Warfighter, and you want to toy around with a few different combinations, there's some of that in there for you. So I didn't really fool around with that too much. I was more interested in playing the maps and getting a feel for them. And I can honestly say, after the patch, the game runs much better. I have no problem getting tons and tons of frames now. They seem to have fixed the frame rate issue that was in the game. The game plays super smooth. I feel like I can actually aim now, and that was one of the problems I had with this game in the early goings on PC, is I felt like there wasn't a lot of precision, that my reticle was going all over the place, and I really have enjoyed my experience with the game post-patch. So even though I've bashed this game about as hard as I can bash it, I have had fun with it, and I guess that kind of gives it props to them actually at least trying to fix the game, even though they could have just given up on it just as easily, because I mean, let's face it, EA was pulling support on it. Danger Close's, you know, their mods in the forums were saying, hey, we're not even going to be around anymore. They're kind of mixing things up completely. I don't even know if Danger Close is going to be here this time next year, which is kind of sad, because they seem to be really, really good people. The development studio seems to be really on top of stuff. It's just a shame that they kind of got shortchanged in the development cycle by EA. But like I said in my last Medal of Honor video, EA tends to be very, very cannibalistic when it comes to its developers. They just eat them alive if they don't make deadlines. They're fine with pushing out garbage, and I don't really know if this truly represents what they were going for with the game. So they have done a pretty good job post-patch. These maps are really good, so if you're a Warfighter fan and you want some new stuff to kind of, you know, play around with, this is definitely worth playing. You know, I enjoyed them, so I can endorse them. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Warfighter, I can see that these are good maps. So if you missed my last videos though, check them out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.